Good morning. In 2003, I wrote my report for the Council of Library and Information Resources, detailing my experiences with libraries, archives, and instrument collections in preparation of my dissertation on the early history of French piano music at New York University. A few years after completing my PhD, I was hired as a full-time editor at the International Office of Répertoire Internationale de Littérature Musicale, or RILM, one of the main resources used all over the world for research in the field of music and writings about music. Little did I know that my thinking and writing about the past and future of library research for the CLIR report was an excellent preparation for this job, which I still hold today. Therefore, this paper provides an opportunity to reflect again on the observations I made in my CLIR report after 14 years of experience as a RILM editor. Since this is a short presentation, I will confine myself to a few points just to illustrate the monumental changes in the world of library resources and to show how RILM, which has a front seat in this process, has adapted during the last years. First, let me briefly explain what the RILM is and does. RILM was founded in 1966 as a non-profit research tool for musicologists, producing annual printed volumes of bibliographies of music literature with abstracts and indexing. It was designed following the UNESCO model. Each country organizes its own national committee, contributing bibliographic records that are sent to the central database so that editors in the international office in New York City can then check, translate, abstract, and index them. To this day, all the information is selected in each country by native scholars and preserved in the language and spelling of the country of origin, supplemented with English translation. RILM includes historical musicology, traditional music, popular music, organology, iconography, and music theory in more than 200 languages. In its time, it was amazingly forward-looking in its global scope and vision. Unlike other research tools, it did not privilege English language scholarship, and at the height of the Cold War, it contributed to an academic exchanges in which cultural borders were more easily crossed. As our executive director, Zdravko Blažeković, recently wrote, when the founder, Barry Brooks, conceived the Répertoire Internationale de Littérature Musicale in the mid-60s, his starting point for the scope of RILM's bibliography was to provide a solution for better communication among music scholars. His global thinking was in many ways atypical at the time, as it was more in line with the mission of the United Nations than with the advancement of the global Pax Americana. At a time when Europe was divided by the Iron Curtain between the political East and West, and non-European political players were aligning themselves with one or the other ideological side, Brooke observed the world as an opportunity for multilateral collaborations across all political systems and ideologies. In recent years, RILM has dramatically increased its coverage of music scholarship in countries like China, India, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, and Indonesia, following Brooks' original concept. In 2001, with a grant from the Mellon Foundation, RILM started to digitize its printed volumes, and now the complete database is available online anywhere in the world through library subscriptions. In the following year, in 2002, the Mellon Foundation supported my own research through CLIR at a time when all these huge changes towards digitalization took place. At the end of my CLIR report, I addressed three topics: accessibility of material, copying procedures, digitalization, and specialization. The first clearly is by now an antiquated topic. In most cases, microfilm is a big topic of concern in my report, are a thing of the past. Accessibility is an interesting topic because it shows to what extent the focus of research has shifted from the physical libraries to digital ones. Accessibility is now mostly understood not as the use of libraries, but as the ease and availability of digital and online resources. RILM was originally designed as a tool that would point its users to journals, books, and collections that contained the relevant articles, so that then the user would head over to a physical library to find it somewhere on a shelf. Now, RILM is the music library. Moreover, in the last 5 years, RILM has expanded to include 260 full-text journals in order to compete in the marketplace with all the books and articles that can be found online. The second, digitalization, is a hot topic today. What is digitized? What is publicly available on the internet? And who decides? A new form of imperialism has taken hold in which groups can potentially push their agendas and question the validity of everything else, regardless of precedent or tradition, and with little accountability. Therefore, it is important that databases like RILM that hold high academic standards evolve with the digital times and maintain their active presence. In my report, I worried about online catalogs that are slow to keep up with traditional librarianship and vice versa. I still remember the painful moment at the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris when an older and clearly very experienced librarian was unable to find the Encyclopédie Méthodique in the digital catalog of his computer. Specialization, as I addressed it in the report, is closely related to digitalization. I still think that the division between general libraries and specialized ones that I proposed then is still a good idea. The first one is more selective and traditional, while the second would cover all levels and aspects of scholarship, but only as pertaining to a narrow topic. The expanded availability of information on the internet is wonderful, assuming that researchers are trained to be critical and careful, and this is not always the case. As I said in the report, compared to the world of 18th century scholars, obviously it's today very easy to obtain information. The question is whether we have the tools to select, assess, and process it. Fortunately, many educators recognize this problem and teach their students from an early age to be critical and protective of their own values. To conclude with a response to the title of this paper, yes, the world of information has expanded and exploded in the last 20 years, opening up exciting new avenues. But more than ever, it is important to be sensitive to unfamiliar cultural traditions that can and should be surprising in countless ways. Academic resources like RILM are in a position to oversee a more even-handed and equitable exchange of information while trying to uphold scholarly standards. This is good news as long as academic researchers know that, in the end, it takes the same long, hard work as it did in earlier times to understand exactly what it is that we find. Thank you.